It's a disease called Charcot-Marie-Tooth. It affects the nerves and muscles to the point where they can deform. From when I was a kid till about my mid-20s, I did about 10 different surgeries to realign. When I was in my 30s is when it got really bad. They gave me the option, well, we can fuse everything together, or you don't want to keep your foot, we can try prosthetics. No matter what situation you're in, and this goes for anybody, is that there is somebody that has it worse. I like to motivate people just because it helps me. Exercise is a big thing. Finding goals, my particular goals is to do an Ironman. And it scares me. But I like that it scares me. Otherwise, I don't think it would be a very good goal.
I'm really proud of you for going into that valley and finding your way back out of it. Everything that you have done probably since then has been touching and changing lives. Hey everybody, this is Brandon with Wilderness Attitude. Thanks for tuning in. We're here at the Western Hunt Expo in Salt Lake City in the Wilderness Athlete booth. We surely want to give a shout out to Wilderness Athlete. They are the leaders in sports performance products, man. They're killer. And we're also over here with the Western Hunter. They got their magazine, TV show, and also Outdoorsman's is on the other side. I mean, we just kind of invaded this booth, and they're super cool to us for having us and even give us a table and chairs. So thanks, Courtney. Anyway, today we have a fantastic podcast for you. I'm super stoked to be sitting here with Sidney Smith. He's a guy that is super empowering, super positive, and I look at the stuff that he accomplishes with being a double amputee, and it just blows my mind. Right? It's like it's super cool to see that you can take something and you can allow it to change your life. You can allow it to empower you, or you can let it take you down and put you in a black hole, right? Mm-hmm. And it's not to say that maybe there isn't times for Sidney that are ups and downs, but I can tell you that on the level, this guy, hands down, puts forward incredible effort. The first time that I got to know of him was in a film that I saw on YouTube of him doing an elk hunt, and I think it was maybe a couple years ago, maybe, right? And then when I started looking into stuff, I'm thinking to myself, he's not even a year into his double amputee, I don't think, and he's trucking up these mountains, and he's packing this elk out, and I'm like, it made me feel like such a whiner. It made me feel like what a pansy I am when I get an elk. We'll talk about one of my pack outs, and I just thought that it was brutal hard, and I'm thinking, and this guy's pulling this thing off, and we were in this territory in New Mexico, right, where the rocks were brutal. I mean, it was brutal.
Rocks are tough. It's the adrenaline. It's the adrenaline. It doesn't matter if it's the size or whatnot. It's the adrenaline that gets us going.
That's a fact. Well, Sidney, thanks for being here. I appreciate it.
Thanks. It's good to be here.
So you got to go throw down a cool workout this morning?
Yeah. Yep. They had Chad Mendez, Zach Griffith, and Eric Chesser.
Right.
They had a high-intensity workout, a little bit of kind of a mix between CrossFit and lifting weights, which isn't really my MO, but, hey, it's whatever helps. So yeah, I did it. It was fun.
Well, did it enlighten you to maybe you need to throw some switch up of that stuff in your repertoire? Or
absolutely. I mean, I thought I was doing pretty good, but until I got in there, I'm like, I need some areas. I got some areas I need to work on, but
and that's sometimes what that's all about, right? Going to work out with someone new or a different buddy in a different gym or something like that, right? I mean, it gives you an opportunity to see some things where you're lacking, right, or where you're excelling.
Yep.
And it's a good read back on yourself as to where you're at, and that's always it's always good to check that new venue to test yourself and figure out where you're at. I think.
Those one-legged squats is what was hard. I was like, because I've already struggled with the balance,
right?
And so it's like, I think I started off at like 25, and then he's like, let's take some weight off and to make sure you get the form down. So took the weight off and got a little bit better, but where I did well at compared to others was the running part with the dead weight. So I like that part. But,
right.
I mean, I like the whole thing, but that was that was a little bit more what I'm used to.
That was your gig. When you saw that coming, you're like,
yes,
yeah, baby.
I'm going to crush this.
Yeah, this one's mine.
Exactly.
I'm going to catch up. Well, that's cool, man. I really want to dive back to a little bit of your childhood and get to know you. You know, how you got into the wilderness, and maybe it looks to me like you're a pretty natural hunter, right? So I think, and fisherman, so I think you've been doing this all your life, right?
Yeah, I grew up in Provo, but a lot of my family's southern Utah. So just the roots of hunting as a kid, fishing, started off with just a tradition of going to deer camp with great grandpa and grandpa and uncles and my dad and
great grandpa. That is way cool.
Oh yeah, we had horses, and he's 90 years old and he's riding a horse, and he didn't go very long, so a lot of times we come back to camp and he had lunch ready for us. But but no, he liked it, and I hope I'm 90 years old and I'm doing the same thing.
So you're talking 4 generations.
Yep.
In a hunting camp.
Yep.
Dude, that doesn't happen very often.
No.
I don't think, right?
No. In fact, those moments, I mean, they're gone now because he's passed, and in fact, my grandpa also passed not too long ago too. But yeah, those moments are probably, what I think about the most whenever I'm in the mountains. And I'm like, man, I can almost feel their presence. And I get the question a lot, like, if you could do one hunt in the world, what would it be? Like a wish. And of course, everyone's like, oh, maybe a grizzly bear or something, something epic.
Something epic, yeah.
If I could pick one hunt to just go back and hunt with those guys again, and it doesn't matter if we're killing 2 points or what, or even seeing it, just being with them is what really started it all. So
yeah, that's so cool. You're right. I've never heard anybody answer that way. That they would, go back and bring someone back from time, right?
Yep.
And be like, I'm going to hunt with these guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good answer, man. So if, where would that be? Where would you go?
Southern Utah.
Just back in somewhere there, right?
Happy Honey Hole, or it's called Mount Dutton. That's Circleville's where they all come from. And so, up on that mountain, I have my great-great-grandfather's initials in trees. A buck that I killed, his initials were, my grandpa's initial as a kid was just right there in that camp, or that meadow where we had killed that deer. So that was kind of epic. And you're hiking around.
What dates are those on the?
Like early 30s, 40s. Some in the teens that had Smith on the tree, and just hiking on ridges and seeing old shell casings and wondering what if this was
what did
relative.
what did this bullet do?
Yeah,
I wonder if this was successful.
Well, I don't know. We throw a lot of lead, so I'm sure it was a miss.
Well, it's part of the gig, isn't it?
Yeah.
Hunting's that's part of the gig, missing.
Yeah.
And so you grow up in southern Utah hunting, and sounds like amazing times,
Yep.
with some men that were, mentors and guides in your life. And what did they, through all of that, what's a few things that they handed down to you that you carry on today, like just in everyday life, not just in, from hunting, but
just the fact that hunting is important, but family is a little more important. And what's nice is you can accomplish both by spending some time with that. Really, even when Thanksgiving hits, we all sit around and talk about the next hunt. Respect for the animal. Everything that we shoot, we kill, and if you hit something and you didn't kill it, you're probably going to have to sit out and chase that animal until he's down.
Right.
Just overall respect, eating the meat. Even, a lot of people don't like mule deer, but that was our favorite and still one of my favorites. And
yeah, why not?
So we just kind of, just the whole respect and the tradition of things, and almost to a spiritual level.
Nice. And so you can carry some of that out of hunting camp, and you can carry that back into your family, and like you say, back to the table, and back and share that with your kids, and and those stories and those the legacies that those men left behind for you to tell, right?
Yep.
And and it's important to tell stories. It's important to that's. I mean, think of like the Indians back in the day, right? I mean, that's how they knew everything was from being told a story. They didn't have something to read. They didn't have, an iPhone. They didn't have any of this stuff, or and that's how it was always done, right? I think it's a super important part of who we are to do that, right?
And it's those memories that reflect on it, and I'm trying to build memories for my son as he's approaching. Well, he just turned 9. And he's starting to have a little bit more interest in it, and so I'm just tickled that my dad's still around and he's healthy enough that we can continue that tradition. So
that's cool, man. So then, did you play sports in high school? Did that ever get in the way of your hunting? Or?
No, because my disability was progressive. I was limited to certain sports, so I did a swim team. I was on the high school team, and did a little bit in college. But just at a young age, started swimming. My dad owned and managed a motel that had a pool, so it was kind of fun to learn there. And then as I got older, I started doing it more competitive.
Right now, so what exactly is your disability? What happened?
It's a disease called Charcot-Marie-Tooth. It's actually not that common, but there's lots of subtypes, and my subtype's very rare as far as the extremity of it. So a lot of people may have high ankles, weak calves, but for me, it started that way. About age 12 is when.
So what does it do?
It affects the nerves and muscles to the point where they can deform, and then because of the deformity is when and the atrophy in the muscles is when the pain hits and bones break. And
no, that sounds good.
Yeah, I know. So it wasn't as severe as a kid, and I did a lot. About 10 from when I was a kid till about my mid-20s. I did about 10 different surgeries to realign, correct the shape, so that I could get some function out of it, and then just slowly progressed. And I had braces to try to correct it, and lots of surgeries, lots of broken bones. So
were you made fun of as a kid? With, like the braces on and all that
kind of
stuff? Yeah.
Oh yeah. The movie Forrest Gump came out right when I got a pair, so everyone's like, "Run, Sidney, run!" So, but yeah, kids are mean.
Yeah, they are.
They're bullied a little bit, teased. Just I walked funny, so a lot of people would try to mimic the way I walk. I look at it now as like I'm grateful for those moments, which sounds odd, but as a kid it was rough.
Yeah, it had to be. Yeah. It was a shitty gig, man.
Yeah.
Well, and that's, I got teenage daughters, and it's not so bad with the boys, but man, even just healthy young daughters, girls, they're mean as can be.
Yeah.
I mean, they're just ruthless.
Yeah, girls are tough. I have 3 of them, and my oldest, I'm a little bit worried. My boy, he's fine.
How old's your oldest daughter?
7.
7?
Yeah, I think she might be one of those girls. It scares me to death, but she's beautiful, love her to death, but she's got her own. She's got her own thing going on.
They're all individuals, aren't they? I mean, I have 9 children, and not one of them are the same. They're all different.
No,
they're all completely different in every way. And one of the things I always tell people is super hard is even disciplining them is hard because they're all different. You can't discipline anyone the same as the other because they all respond differently to different stuff.
Yep. My oldest, you tell him he's in trouble, and it's just, he gets emotional, he gets super upset, and you ground him or something like that. It's like the end of the world. Where the girl, she's like, I don't care, whatever. I'll just go hang out in my room and do whatever. Watch me.
Watch me.
It's like, oh gosh.
Yeah, fires you up, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So, how did so then this all progressed, and I mean, so when you were younger, So obviously, I see why you gravitated towards swimming because I mean it's something that you can power through with a good upper body, right, and in some decent rhythm.
Yep.
But when did you actually? It wasn't until you were older that you got amputated, right?
Yep.
And so that was a question I had, but I don't want to jump too far ahead. So you're back in high school swimming and a little bit in college. Were you successful at it, or was it just a good?
Yeah, I was with 500 free. The distance was my gig, and then butterfly, which was I think just the way that my foot was kind of positioned gave me a pretty good kick,
right.
and qualified for regions and states, and
here in Utah.
Yeah.
Nice.
So I mean, I wasn't the best at it, but
right.
that was my butterfly and 500 free.
Man, and I'm horrible at butterfly. I never had that rhythm when I was younger, so I was always breaststroke, and that was pretty much my gig was breaststroke. But I did the 200 IM.
Okay.
I could pull off a 50 of fly, but I surely didn't want to do much more than that.
I think I got in just by default because everyone hated it. So I'm like, what does everybody hate? And I'll try to see if I can do that.
And that'll be my event.
Yeah.
Well, and I think you're right. I think it usually tends to be butterfly, doesn't it? Because, I mean, that's the hardest stroke to master rhythmically, and it is the most physically challenging stroke as well.
Oh yeah, it is. It's art and endurance, of course, and strength. A lot of them is more form. There's a lot of strength in that one. Yeah,
huge shoulder strength, right? I mean, big time to your shoulders. You know, there's a guy that I swam with. His name was Pat Goddard, and he was just like this perfect swimmer cut, right? I mean, just like this, you know, and he made fly look easy but he was almost so stacked on top that if he didn't stay really, really high in the water, then it would eat him up, you know. So his strength was able to keep him high enough in the water, and I don't think he had the best form either. I don't think he had that real fluidness to his, you know, he was just up in the air the whole time.
The groove,
yeah. So then, where'd you go to college? Here?
No, I went to BYU, Idaho at first, and that's where I met my wife. It's up in Rexburg. Nice. And then I wanted to kind of follow my dad's footsteps, and so I went into the hospitality industry and transferred to Utah Valley University that had a hospitality management program. And I got my bachelor's in there and just been doing hotels until 6 months ago.
Right. So. And why did you want to be in the hospitality industry? That's such a hard industry. Anything in the hospitality or service or restaurants and things like that, it's tough.
Yeah.
It's a tough place to be.
It is. I think, you know, maybe the apple didn't fall far from the tree. My dad did it. It's what I knew. Right. But at the same time, I was pretty good at it. I like people. I like the service. I like, you know, creating that memorable experience for people and it's fast paced, and, high energy, and then it wasn't, I liked it. I mean, I could do it on a regular basis, but about 6 months ago, I don't know if it was a midlife crisis, but an opportunity came that was a different industry, and after working in the hotels for 18 years, I took that plunge. And
so what are you doing now?
I work for a network company that provides utilities and phone, cable, TV, internet in my hometown. So,
well, that is a big change. And I mean, I was a chef for 15 years, and I did this. And it's crazy, isn't it? It's just like you wake up one day and you're like, "Yep, I'm out." Like it's over.
It is,
And so then I have to ask you: Do you have a bed and breakfast pipe dream?
No.
Whoa. You hesitated. You thought about it.
There's times I think about it, but then I go back, I remember getting waked up in the middle of the night. I remember dealing with kicking customers out of the hotel and having the police involved and all those things. I'm like, I just don't know if I can get back into it. There's some days I think I could, but I love the company I work for now.
I think about chefing and doing that. I always had that B&B pipe dream when I was younger, and I think I could do it, but I don't think it's in my cards. But it's now we own a trucking company. We haul water, and it is the same thing when we first bought it. it was like phone calls in the middle of the night, 4 a.m. I have soap in my hair and I'm out of water, stuff like that. And over time, it ended up working out to the point of where now we've kind of trained them to be more prepared. But also our service is where it's at, so it keeps them from being in that position.
Yeah.
But so you met your wife up there, and you guys moved back down here. What did she do?
She's stay-at-home mom. She was a school teacher, and we started our family. I moved down to Lake Powell and managed a hotel and restaurant down there in Bullfrog, and started our family down there. And it wasn't until my oldest was able to go to school, we wanted him to go through a normal grade school instead of K through 12. Not that I have anything against it, it's just what we chose. And that's when we moved to Vernal, and that's where we are now.
And so you're able to work from home mostly?
No. I'm in the sales and service, so I have an office and a retail store that employees that we just we help the community and get them set up with what they need.
Right on. So you hit your ampuversary, I read, which is did you come up with that, or was that our hashtag?
Yeah, no, they have that.
It was already out there.
Ampuversary.
So you did one leg, and then later you did the second, right?
Yep.
And why did they choose to do one at a time?
It was my choice.
Yeah.
So when I was in my 30s is when it got really bad, and with pins and needles and broken bones and plates and screws, that was pretty much a non-functional fit. They gave me the option, well, we can fuse everything together, but you'll be in a wheelchair for a lot of it and not have a lot of functionality, and you'll still have pain. Or you don't want to keep your foot, we can try prosthetics. And
was that a hard decision?
Yeah. I didn't. Mainly because I didn't know anybody that was another amputee, other than just, YouTuber and the internet, really.
Right.
One of them that was a big inspiration was Patrick, that Wilderness I think sponsors that. He's an above knee amputee soldier, hunter, and he kind of motivated me to, this isn't the end game if I do choose this.
Right.
I can hunt still, and this guy gets around, and. So because where I live, there's no doctors or prosthetists, is what we call them, the leg maker. So I had to travel to Salt Lake, which is about 3 hours from where I live. Mm-hmm. And because of that, I wanted to drive, and I didn't want to be a burden to my wife or anybody in my church or someone to take me to the doctor.
A little bit of pride in the way there.
Yeah.
Sounds like.
Same with work. So I decided to do one first. Unfortunately, it wasn't as successful. Ended up down the road getting infected, and so they had to go in and do some work and amputate a little bit higher. So that's why my legs are a little offset size-wise. And then
Gotcha.
I was at that point, rock bottom in life, and suicidal thoughts. And
how'd you hold on? How did you hold on?
I kept a constant reminder that there are, no matter what situation you're in, and this goes for anybody, is that there is somebody that has it worse.
Right.
And I think a lot, my kids and my wife are a big push for me. Sometimes when you're in the darkest of darks, you forget those things.
Yeah.
Family and some of the blessings I have.
Well, you tend to when you get in that spot, right, you tend to try to destroy all of the good stuff too, right?
You think it's an easy escape to just to take your life, and it's just it's selfish, of course.
Right.
But and a lot of people don't understand that. But when you're in that moment, it makes sense.
It does,
and it's horrible. And now that I look at it, man, am I glad I didn't. But it just, and in a way, I'm grateful I had that, because those moments, because I can appreciate it, and I've learned a lot from it. Mm-hmm. And if definitely, it's given me motivation that I can overcome a lot of things. And so, to go back is that's when I told the doctor, I said, look, I can't do another surgery. I hate the hospital food. No offense. Let's just do them both at the same time. So.
So when you went back for the redo,
yeah,
you did it both.
Yeah. So we did that. It was November 2015.
November 4th.
Yeah, November 4th. Yeah, very good.
Yeah. So what do you do on that day? What do you do on your anniversary? I mean, there's got to be something cool.
We
thought of.
Usually grill up a turkey leg or something like that. So
grill up a turkey
on the Traeger.
That's a good one.
No, we do have a party.
Yeah,
you know, it's not not a huge rager. I don't drink alcohol, but we indulge in maybe some Martinelli and Oreos.
Martinelli, the sparkling cider and Oreos.
Yeah.
That's the way to go, man. My kids love that stuff. Well, and I'm really happy for you. I'm really proud of you.
Thanks.
Too, for going into that valley and finding your way back out of it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because everything that you have done probably since then has been touching and changing lives, whether it's your children or your wife or yourself or the people around you who watch what you're doing. There's especially in this day and age and with Instagram and all this stuff, right? I mean, people are watching you, right? I mean, that's how I found you. And like I mentioned earlier, I mean, you're just an inspiration for me to buck up, right? And look down and be like, what do you got, buddy? Let's go, So it's really cool. I appreciate you telling the listeners that, life is real, it's not all peaches and cream. And,
no.
We tend to, put out on the social media what we want, not always exactly what we are all the time. I mean, you surely don't take pictures to put on your story when you're, holding your head crying, right? Because people are, be like, well, I don't want all that,
No.
But
it's true though. I like to motivate people just because it helps me. It helped me when I was in a dark spot. But yeah, I'm just a normal guy. I have bad days,
Right.
I think though, for me, what I've learned is go ahead, let yourself have a bad day. That's okay. You're entitled to do it. Go for it. We're human. But don't make that particular bad day turn into a bad week, because then it's easy to turn that to a bad month, and then pretty soon you have a shitty life. So
that's a fact, right? I mean, just shake it off, right? Something.
Yeah.
I mean, what do you do? What do you do when you're having a bad day? Do you go somewhere? Do you think different things? Do you go grab your kids? How do you get out of the funk?
Chopping wood.
Chopping wood. Go do something.
No, I try to focus on the things I like. I think fitness is a huge thing. It was just something that was so before. Now it's something that's always on my mind, and it helps a lot. I mean, when I'm working out, it doesn't mean that I'm sad. But I think exercise is a big thing. Finding goals and pursuing them. Whether my particular goals is to do an Ironman, and take certain animals with my bow, and so those are big goals. They're scary goals, especially the Ironman being 140 plus miles, 140.6, and it scares me.
Right,
but I like that it scares me. Otherwise, I don't think it would be a very good goal.
Well, having goals and doing all that is extremely important. I definitely feel that. And I think that the exercise part of it is super important because, what's healthy for the body is healthy for the mind. And I find that the more that I work out and the more that I exercise, the better I sleep, the better. Just a lot of things seem to come into context in a more positive light for me when I can do that. And like you say, when you get in some funks, for me, same thing, man. I can go. I mean, I think there's plenty of times where I'm not in a good mood, and I'll just go to the gym and hopefully get there and nobody's there.
Yeah.
So I can play death metal.
Yep.
And I can just rage and do my thing. And then I
that's
walk out of there and I'm like, God, I work out with the lights off. I don't even turn the lights on. And sometimes that's a cool place to be.
Country music is what I drive in the truck, and then when I'm lifting weights, it's Rage Against the Machine, Deftones, and it's just blaring and just, yeah.
Yeah, I'm the same way. Everybody can always tell when I'm in the gym. I'm the only one that plays crazy music. Everybody else plays stuff that's, that everybody could listen to.
Yeah.
Right? So one thing that I noticed was you were swimming not that long ago, and you take your legs off to swim. Is that easier? Is it?
No. Well, everyone's like, well, it is less drag in the water, but that was hard because I'm so used to kicking and pushing off the wall, flip turns and stuff like that. The way I race now, in lakes and for triathlons, it's not necessary really to be pushing off the wall, but I had to retrain myself. It was, I kept sinking because I couldn't keep a level plane in the water, and so my stumps would kind of sink me down. And so I contacted an organization called Challenge Athletes Foundation out in San Diego, and they worked with me with a coach, and I took GoPro videos under the water, try to get my form down, and it almost took me about a year until I got almost to where I was speed-wise, besides the flip turns, when I was doing it competitively. So basically I had to overcompensate, have my head down lower, use more of my chest, or my air in my chest as I'm breathing, more in my chest instead of my diaphragm. So a lot of it, opposite, more in my diaphragm than my chest. So that way, a lot of my distribution from where my hips would lift up out of the water, and it just works out a little bit different. I had to strike the water different, just overall kind of relearn how to do it, and then now it just becomes natural.
So the first thing I thought when you said you reached out to somebody, I thought maybe they had figured out a way to make you a little floaty that hooked onto your legs, right? But no, this was a whole real scientific form of changing all your stuff. Do you ever catch yourself trying to move your legs?
Yeah, every once in a while. I still kind of use my legs or my stumps to rotate the hips as I breathe, go take the breath, or if I'm... Yeah,
because you can give that thrust just to get your head up out of the water just enough, because if you're trying to lay lower, then...
In triathlons, you got a sight, so you kind of lift my leg up to see where I am on the course, or if I'm, run into a paddler or somebody else. So I got to use my hips a little bit to get, set my bearings.
So. All right, yeah. It's interesting. I was watching, and you got a great stroke.
Thank you.
I was watching your videos on Instagram, and I'm like, man, that's when I was like, he's been swimming for a while. Because he's got a good stroke.
Yeah.
But, so now there's one other thing that I saw in there that I thought was, man, those Blade Runners, do you actually use those very often?
Yeah.
Because they look sketchy as shit to me, man.
They are. I've fallen on my ass a few times. I was running in Vegas one time, crossing the street, and I don't even know what happened. I wasn't paying attention. I don't think I tripped over anything, but I fell. And this cab driver comes and helps me up, and trail running's a little difficult, obviously. I have different legs that I'll do for trail runs, but it takes a lot. The momentum you have to master, kind of figure out your balance, and stopping's hard.
I never even gave that any thought.
Yeah, because I don't have a heel. It's just a giant C. So last year I got hit by a car. He was crossing, or he's turning left, and I was crossing the crosswalk, and he didn't scrape, his windows very good. He was on his way to school, and so he had hit me with his mirror, but I would have, avoided it altogether if I could have stopped right in time, but... So there are some disadvantages of the blades.
They remind me of like these guys that race on bikes where there's only, an inch of tire that touches the ground, and they do like 60 miles an hour.
Yep.
And it's when I look at those Blade Runners, I'm like, there's not much contact point here.
No.
No,
it's kind of like walking on a deck of cards. So when I'm not running and I'm just trying to stand, I can't. I have to constantly be moving, kind of like the potty dance. I gotta go potty. So.
That's funny. So then I caught you on that video, that YouTube video, your bull in New Mexico, and that was a really cool hunt to watch. But I was observing you through the woods and watching you walk, and and you know, all those little rocks and all these little things. I mean, it's such a challenge, and I know that one of your biggest pet peeves is the fact that you hate tripping, especially if someone's got you on camera, right? So
it happened a couple of times. There's the guys that edited that video. I think they felt bad because I tripped a lot more than what was on the camera.
Right.
But you know, it was hard. I mean, I'm way better at it now. I literally had flew back from Tennessee where I had received those legs, and it was just I wasn't used to them. In fact, they're actually the same legs I have now. Mm-hmm. And so just the uneven terrain. I don't have a center of gravity, and so it was, you know, when you have weight on your backpack, it's even more because it's, you know, I'm more top heavy than I am on the bottom, obviously.
Like when you fell down that one time, the look on your face when you looked up, you were just like, oh my God. If I fall down again, man, right?
Yeah.
It seems like it'd be pretty damn frustrating.
Oh,
it's frustrating for me when I go over a deadfall or when I trip and fall and stuff. I mean, because once that 40 pounds, 50 pounds gets you just a little bit off kilter, man, and you know it's over.
Yeah.
You're just gonna, try to relax.
Yeah.
Hit the ground.
Yeah. You got to fall down though. That's if I didn't fall down, then I probably wouldn't have been as to get out there more and push myself more. So
what inspired you to film that hunt and to share that story?
You know, it was actually just random. We just, a friend of mine just brought his camera and wanted to, he kind of wanted to use it a little bit for his business, and I had scouted and hunted prior by myself, and then when they decided to come with me, and we just put the record button, and really nothing was reenacted. It was just straight up, here comes the bull. Oh my gosh, here comes the bull.
Right? It was like, it's actually really coming, man.
Yeah, in fact, I teased him. I go, dude, you didn't push record. You missed that. Oh, and he was just freaking out. And so, it turned out to be a cool hunt. I mean, we were blessed that, not only did he come in 30-something yards into us, but he also expired right there on camera.
Right.
It was an experience that, I'll always remember. Mm-hmm. Not, to be cocky about it and show everyone, but it's something that kind of for my kids. And after that video, I've had other people with disabilities, amputees, they're like, oh my gosh. And they started hitting questions, and a lot of them now want to come out and hunt elk with me. There's a gentleman out in Ohio, Tate Hall, and he's an amputee as well. And he's like, hey, if you come take me elk hunting, I'll take you whitetail hunting. So kind of have that camaraderie already starting to build. So.
That's awesome. See, and that's the thing, right? Like us, back to us saying before, I mean, you got to be happy you came out of the darkness and, and found your way through life at this point because you're affecting people.
Yeah.
You're inspiring people.
Thank
you have people that inspire you. Tell us about who's your top.
Who's my top?
Who's your top three?
Top three? Okay. My dad, for one, just because
it's because he's your dad.
Yeah,
right?
Sorry.
He's awesome, right?
He is. In fact, he'll be here any minute now, but he is. He's my dad. He's helped me, and as a parent, if I saw my kid go through what I had to go through, it crushed me.
Right.
But he's an amazing guy. I hope to be half the man. I will never be because I'm an amputee, but but pretty much he's my hero.
Right.
Zach Griffith. When I was in the dumps, I kind of wanted to get in shape for hunting, and that's where really I just kind of Googled him and found him that way. And this is way before he was where he is now, and came close that way. And he's been a big motivator for me. Another one, Jason Reynolds back. He is a hunting guide, triathlete, Ironman. Big mule deer hunter, extremely successful, but not a lot of people know who he is. But about a year and a half ago, he had a really bad accident that paralyzed him, put him in a coma. He came out, not being able to move, and now he can move just, some of his body. And he's out there, killing deer with his teeth. I mean, he draws his bull with his teeth. And he's been my mentor for training for the Ironman. Just an amazing guy. But we just kind of have a different story. Our accidents happened around the same time, where I had a really just, struggle, and I couldn't do a lot of things before. And then my accident kind of put me into where I am now and doing a lot more than I ever thought I could. Right. And he's in the opposite, where he's accomplished the most amazing thing where 99% of people couldn't do. Right. And we switched. And so he's almost been a mentor to me, and he has no idea how big of a big motivator he is for me. So, I mean, those three guys are just been awesome guys for me.
That's cool. And I know that you reached out to me a little while back and want to know when Kirstie Ennis's podcast is going to go up.
Yes, she's great. She's done a lot. She's an inspiration. Very good. Above knee amputees is they say blood prosthesis is harder than a double below knee, and what she's done, for the hunting industry and the soldiers, it's amazing. That's
pretty cool, huh? Yeah. It's a cool story.
Yeah.
But your story is equally as cool, because the dynamic of what you've been through, it's been something that has been plaguing you all your life, right? I mean, it's been something that's been a part of you from the get-go. It's and there's something to be said for that, in the fact that you not only endured the pain, but the teasing, and you endured a bad surgery, and then you also get it to the point of where, you do both, and then you come back from that, and you're, and then, like you say, you hit a dark valley, and you come out, and you're crushing it now. I mean, you're doing amazing work, right? And so, where do you see yourself going from here, personally, and where do you see yourself going from here in hunting, in this industry, this passion that you have,
Personally, I mean, my goal is to do the Ironman 140.6 miles. Right now, I'm at the 70.3 level. I'm training
double.
Yeah, double the distance.
So it's 70 miles.
Yeah, that's where I'm at right now, 70.3. So I did 2 of them last year. What's 1.2 mile swim, 56 mile bike, and a 13.1 mile run. I'm going to do another one of those in the spring, and then this summer I'm going for the marathon, 26.2, and the running is my weakest link, and so that's kind of where I want to focus. Once I get through that, then I'm shooting for 2019, 2020. It just depends on how this run goes. That is my goal, and then hunting. I mean, I love the triathlons, but really I kind of use the training for triathlons to get me into hunting.
Right.
So it's tough to, because they both kind of collide a little bit. But hunting is probably the big drive, just because it's just something I love. It's the nature, the spirit, and things I could do with my family and so forth. And so there's a few out of state hunts I'm trying to shoot for in state. I'm kind of locked down to finances, and so there's only a few I can do each year. But
what's your number one you want to do this year? What do you want to do?
I want to do a 4th season Colorado. That's one.
4th season Muley?
Yep, 4th season. My dad has 21 points on the boulders, so he's, according to the stats, he should draw that TIG. I do want to do archery elk this year. There's some bulls I have
here in Utah.
Here in Utah, over the counter, some bulls that are good size that I have a pretty good idea that made the winner.
They're haunting your memory.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like they made it. They're mine.
Yeah, and it was a mild winter.
And it's so scary. I don't even know how it's going to play out for hunting next year, right? I mean, we have no moisture.
Yeah.
I don't know
something's got to happen.
Something's got to break. the levee. Hopefully not the levee, but hopefully the rain, right?
Yeah.
So your fourth season, well, I live in Colorado. I live in Durango. So where are you going to go for your fourth season? Muley, if you get it.
Well, I only have a few points. Greeley's one of the areas. I want to say there's one above Meeker that I think you can draw on a couple points. That's the third season.
Mm-hmm.
That not be bad. I mean, I'm not looking for a monster. I mean, it would be nice, but I'm not trying to. Mm-hmm. I want to be able to hunt as much as I can. As nice as it would be for Unit 21. It's. I'm 34 years old. And what is it, like 70, 80 years before you get that tag? So
I don't think I've even paid attention because I know it's impossible. Because I'm not lucky enough to ever get something.
No.
But so with the hunts quickly approaching and that big marathon coming, what do you do as far as your diet, and what do you do for taking care of yourself, and is there certain things you got to do to take care of your legs and stuff like that in order for you to do all that?
Yeah, skin breakdown's a big thing. I'm working with a guy in Oklahoma that's it's kind of a new not necessarily new, but it's just not the most orthodox way of treating your limb, and that is putting full pressure on the stump itself. No prosthesis, just full on weight on the stump.
So kind of walking around on your stumps.
Yeah,
then, huh?
yeah, and it's very painful, and I'm to the point where I can stand now, and I could take one small step, but that's been like 4 months of progress in practicing. So
Wow.
Building up that, just kind of like our feet, when we're wearing shoes all the time and we go walk on the gravel, it hurts. But if you were to be barefoot a lot, then it's kind of the same process. And it's been successful. So with the long distance training and the running, it's just constant pounding. With this company that helped make my legs, Amputee Blade Runners, they made the most perfect set. And so before I was having skin issues, so I get blisters and then when you get blisters and blood, you have to worry about infections and all that. So there's a lot of things I do to make sure I don't have those issues. And so with the stump health, it helps making sure that I'm having the proper volume inside my socket, because otherwise if it's not a perfect fit, tightness, then issues can happen.
Right.
And so I have to be constantly making sure that everything's tight. Otherwise, I can, have issues, and then by the end of the day, I can't walk, and it's just because I didn't add a sock in. And diet helps too. Like if I'm, ran very hard the day. Yeah, so I have a little sock in between. That just helps. That
so it's like
volume.
a stump sock?
Yep, stump sock.
Because I saw your one thing on Instagram where it was like the pirate standing there with his wood legs, and it was Christmas time, and it was socks again.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Not socks again. Yeah. Yeah, that's the other thing. I don't need snow boots. I don't need socks.
What did you think about that in the movie night last night, the Gritty movie night, right?
Yeah.
Those guys wearing sandals, hiking in the snow in sandals.
Oh, that was insane.
Insane.
I love that part of the video because it showed, I think he had either Crispy or Kenna Trek, which are hundreds of dollars of footwear, and then these guys are flip-flops and
tennis shoes.
In the snows, yeah.
And they don't mind.
It's insane.
They don't care at all. Right?
The human body is amazing how it adapts.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that's crazy. Well, that was a cool flick. Did you like the black and white part?
I did. At first, it's like, okay, when is it going to go color? This is weird. And then after a while, I'm like, I like it. I hope it doesn't go color. And
it was almost not like a traditional black and white either, right? It was almost like a silver.
Yeah. Yeah, it almost had almost like a blue tint to it.
Yeah, something underlying there, right?
Yeah,
because I thought maybe it was because we sat down low looking up at it that, maybe that angle changed some of that or something.
Because I was on the back row, and it looked the same. And, 18,000 feet?
Yeah. Dude, that's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, it would be a dream to do that, though.
Yeah, but that's the kind of thing, like, you see all these guys that are amputees that do Everest and stuff, and they're like, hell, it's way easier for us because we don't have to worry about our feet freezing.
Yeah.
Right? Because that's usually the biggest problem is the feet.
Feet
right?
will freeze. You got to take care of your stump. Stumps can freeze too.
Still,
I've heard there's been horror stories of amputees that had to get amputated higher because of the frostbite that has in your stump. But
is it because of poor circulation?
Uh-huh.
Just because there's nothing right there?
Yep.
Because they had to cauterize all that back up in there, right, or something?
Yeah,
vessels?
I do have that. Mine was surgically done, not traumatic. So my stump actually has pretty good circulation. I don't get phantom pain all the time. Maybe if maybe it doesn't.
Phantom pain.
It's kind of hard to explain, and so when I try to tell people, they kind of get weirded out. But it's where you can feel your feet, or for me, it's when I can still feel my feet and the pain that I had in the past, and it's still there. So it's kind of a catch-22 because it's like I amputated my legs so I can have less pain, but yet I still feel them. It's different. It's not all the time.
But is it actually like down here, or is it just all in your head?
It is. It's in your head. So the muscle or the nerve memory goes back and forth, a million times, and so when it's not there, you still feel it. So and it's weird sensation. So it's like I'll be just normal sitting here, and all of a sudden I can feel that feeling when you're going around the corner of your house and you snag your baby toe. I hate that. Or you step on a Lego or hot sand, and it's just sometimes I have to tell people because I'm like, no, I don't have Tourette's. It's just every once in a while I just need a second for it to go away, and then I'm fine. So I have to, people that I'm close with, I have to explain to them because I don't want them to think, what's going on, dude?
Is he okay?
Yeah.
Right?
Like, it'll pass.
It's okay. I'm fine.
Yeah.
So that phantom pain, huh? Well, is that like when the first thing I thought of is, when you think your phone vibrated, but it didn't?
Yeah. Yeah, that's kind of.
You're like, did my phone vibrate? Is that like phantom ringing?
Yeah.
They call it phantom ringing.
Yeah, hashtag phantom ringing. Let's start it. It's a ding.
So what else you got going on here at the show? I heard you talking to Muley Matt. You wanted to go check out his phone scope gig.
Yep, I want to do that. Corey Jacobson's class tomorrow.
That's awesome.
Yeah, he's been a big motivator for me too. My dad's here today, so we're gonna do a little walk around, hang out at the ops booth. My friend's got a business, backcountry e-bikes. Can hang out there. Just get to meet people, network, and then when Saturday we got the Cameron Haynes 5K race. I'm gonna do that, and then hang out here and just live it up. I think I might call it quits and go home Sunday.
I thought about doing that 5K on Saturday morning, but then I got the opportunity to do this workout, and I'd much rather work out than run. I'm not a fan of the run. I don't know. I used to kind of dig running a little bit more, and then after I had my hip surgery, I just kind of was. It's not so much on the top of my list anymore. Mm-hmm. I don't know why, because now it don't hurt. Mm-hmm. Now I can actually run and it don't hurt, but now it's like weird. I don't know. I'm not much of a runner much anymore. Well, it's good. You're going to have a great show. I need to meet your father.
Cool. Yeah,
okay?
We'll bring him by.
I need to meet your father, please.
Yeah, he'll be here.
And what's his name?
Stuart.
Stuart?
Yeah.
All right, I need to meet Stuart. Because just by your little bit of watered eyes, I got to meet this guy.
Yeah.
Right?
He's a nice guy.
I mean, I'd much rather meet that guy than Eric or anybody else.
He's a better-looking guy. That's what he looks like me, better-looking, clean-shaved.
And clean-shaven,
yeah.
Huh? Well, so next year when I see you, you're going to be laying down your ZZ Top beard, right? And then we'll have to put you and Muley Matt next to each other, and we'll have to do a beard. What is it called? A beard sniff test.
Ooh. Yeah, I believe in beard products, so I think they help. So
I think this might be a new thing. I don't know. It's kind of weird, though, smelling dudes' beards. Look at my wife looking at me like, there's something wrong with you. But anyway, Sidney, thanks so much for being on, man. I really appreciate it. And I got one more question for you.
Okay.
What does the wilderness mean to you, man?
It is an escape that we can all go to. It's the pure definition of God's creation. It's where magic happens, where life can change. I think it's where you can speak to yourself get to know yourself. It's, where you can pray, where you can meditate, where you can have fun. Really where you can learn more about yourself that you really, can't really learn, surfing on the internet or sitting at home watching Netflix. It's really just a magical place that it's hard to explain, but
yeah, great answer.
Thanks.
Appreciate it. Dude, thanks so much. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem.
Everybody, thanks for tuning in to Wilderness Attitude podcast. Really hope you enjoyed getting to know Sidney Smith and a little bit of fun we had there. Trust me, you got to push your limits, man. It's amazing what the human body can do. It's incredible what the mind can overcome. So remember, stay positive, get out there, push your limits. New starts, new focuses, they're important. Find who you are, whether it's in the wilderness or, maybe the Western Hunt show or something, who knows, man. And don't forget your daddy, right? We're going to meet Stuart here after a while. All right, you guys, take care. Have a good week.